Get those Cybermen out.
G'day guys, Sam from the Cybermen here. Today I have a deck profile of my winning Gotenks deck from the online Premier Tournament series by TAC Games over the weekend. This is the third time I've done a Gotenks deck profile, but that's because I came first in a qualifier last series and I came second in the finals, so this is another first place. I feel like Gotenks is really consistent. The difference with this deck is I decided I was going to do a personal experiment just to see what it was like running 60 cards in a deck. I ended up with 59 because I couldn't find my extra Dark Power Black Marseillan at the last minute, so I had to change that. But 60 card deck in a deck that is super consistent. You have searches in this deck like the Goku that can go through your whole deck, so that doesn't matter for how big your deck is. The deck size doesn't matter in that case, and you also filter really heavily with your fusions and things like that. So I wanted to see how it would go. It obviously worked for me. It meant that I could run heaps of different tech, which you'll see in this profile, and I think it was cool. Obviously it wasn't as consistent as it could be. There was times where I didn't see what I needed, but it didn't hinder me too much. So in a best of 3 format, or probably even in another best of 1, I will knock it down a few pegs from 60, but it was a good experiment, and it worked out for me in the end. So enjoy, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. I've changed my deck a lot, and obviously running 60 cards, or 59 cards in this case, because I couldn't find my extra Marseillan. It was an experiment. Like, I didn't expect to top this event. I wanted to top 16, but I didn't expect to win playing with such a large deck. But I knew that Gotenks draws a lot. I've said it all since the start. You filter your cards so much that having one-offs in your deck isn't too bad. So I thought, why not try with 60 cards and see if, you know, how bad it is, because I've never played a deck with 60 cards. We all know it makes it less consistent, and the only thing I could see as being an issue is trying to find this guy, because you can search your deck very easily with Goku. You can search through your whole deck for your Gotenks pieces, so the size of your deck doesn't matter. And then once you have those Gotenks pieces, you can start filtering really hard straight away. So let's go through it. We got Gotenks, a leader. When he attacks, you draw a card, and when you have a unison with a specified cost of 2, or your life is at 4 or less, you can awaken. If you are using the unison to awaken, you have to knock yourself down to 6. When you flip him over, your opponent's leader card can't attack battle cards, so that really helps defend your battle cards. On top of this skill, when he attacks, draw a card, and you tap 1 energy to choose one of your opponent's unison cards and remove a marker, or to play 2 ghost tokens in rest mode if you drop a card. Interestingly, I used that tap 1 skill in the last tournament a lot, but with this build, I didn't use it a single time in this tournament, not once, because there's always... I play on curve really heavily with this deck. There's always something to use your energy for. You tap out because I don't use energy on defense at all, pretty much, unless I'm playing a really defensive game with Cells, Earth Destroying Kamehameha. But let's look at all the cards now and my choices. So we have the obvious 4 of Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta Peerless Warrior, the Unison. This one is, it has an auto. When you use Union, you draw a card, a Union skill. When you +2, you give all your green battle cards Revenge until the end of your opponent's next turn. And you -7 if your leader card is mono green. You look at your opponent's life, choose 1 card, place it in the drop, and then they choose 3 cards from their hand and discard them. So I ended games with that. Still, probably, in my opinion, one of the strongest unison skills in the game. It's so easy to get to 7 because you're plussing 2 every turn. Your opponent has a lot of threats to deal with on the board, and you have blockers to stop them from attacking this. So 4 of those guys. I run... Oh, there's the other. Sorry. I was looking for that card. I couldn't find the other Cells. Destroying Kamehameha. There we go. Apologies. Alright, so I only run 3 of these. This was part of the kind of experiment. So I wanted to run a bunch of different cards. Goku, the legendary Fusion Warrior. This is your ideal turn 1 play, depending on what you're playing against. If you're playing against Gohan, you probably don't want to tap down an energy. But most decks, you play this. If you're playing against Vegex, you play the Black Marseille if you get it. This guy, when you play him, you look through your deck for a green battle card with an energy cost of 6 or less and Union Fusion. So pretty much you look through your deck for a Gotenks, show your opponent, obviously, and add it to your hand. Then he sits on the field. He is 1 cost that adds for Successor and things like that. But also, once you tap 1 energy and place him in the drop, you can reveal that Gotenks, look through your deck for a Goten and Trunks to add to your hand. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This card means that running 60 cards in your deck isn't as detrimental as it would be in other decks. Mainly because you can search through your whole deck with this card. You don't have to worry about how many cards are in there. You're finding the card you need. And then once you have that Gotenks in your hand, that is Gotenks draw you so much and filter your deck so much that you can see it all. I wouldn't recommend running 60 cards by any means. This was just me being silly and wanting to experiment and see what would happen. It obviously worked out for me, but I feel like it could have been more consistent if I didn't have that 60 card deck, obviously. Son Gohan, potential unlocked. By now everybody should know this card. This is a 1-drop. It's free when you have a Unison with a specified cost of 2 in play, and then it's a unique blocker. So you play this at the end of your turn, you +2 on your Unison, and you give it Revenge, ready to defend you from battle card attacks next turn. Now, most of the time it gets blown up, but that means your opponent is spending resources to blow it up, so that's fine as well. I have 4 of the Trunks Bonds of Friendship. 4 of this guy and 3 of the other one, because this guy is Union Fusion target that when you discard it, you look at the top 7 of cards of your deck for a Unison with a specified cost of 2. The amount of times you actually hit this is not very often, because you want to have one in your hand already, and it's kind of just a nice thing if you get that plus, but it doesn't happen very often, but that's fine. Go to his counterpart first, run a 3 of Son Goten Bonds of Friendship. Now, this is only 3 of because it doesn't have the auto, but I do like it because it has critical, so you can play it using this card with the first skill, which is you drop this guy and play a Goten from your deck, so you get a 15k crit if you need it, especially since I'm running a hand destruction package that can come in clutch at the end if you need to just knock them down to 2 or 1 life. And then obviously he's the fusion target, so I run 3 of that. If I did run the Trunks, I'll speak about it at the end of this, but the Trunks on the draft box, I'll up this up to 4. And the next fusion piece we have is the anniversary box, Son Goten and Trunks Faultless Youth. So I run this at 4. The best thing about this is that it's both Son Goten and Trunks, so if you have either one of these in hand, this one counts as the other one, which is good. And also, this is my other turn 1 play. So if I don't have this guy in hand, or if I don't have a Unison, I am using one of these 2 to play this from deck. If I go second, I attack with it, and then I use the second activate main, send him back to hand, look at the top 5 cards for a Gotenks or the Unison. So generally, I'll hard mulligan for this guy. I'll drop my whole hand if I have to find him, and if I don't, then I get this guy. And I don't think there was a game out of 6 games yesterday. I don't think there was a game where I didn't have the Unison. So the 60 card deck didn't hinder me that much in that case. And then I run 1 of each of the promos. So these guys, I found in the last tournaments that sometimes I would have, this and not, or 2 of these and no Goten. These guys, when they're in the drop area, you can tap 1 energy to add this card to your hand. So you can get your fusion pieces back for late game if you need it. The thing is, my deck is so hand destruction heavy that I didn't always play the big Gotenkses. People will say I'm crazy, but like Reaper didn't come out as often as it usually does, and I'll explain why in a sec. I was usually finishing games on turn 3 or 4. So here's the Gotenks, greatest fusion of them all. So these are all tournament pack promos. I didn't use these at all to grab from the drop, but that's mainly because I wasn't using Gotenks that often. So this is my turn 2 play, ideal turn 2 play. This is what you want to grab with this guy on turn 1 if you play it. This guy is a 1-cost Union Fusion. When you play him, you draw a card and you choose one of your opponent's unison cards and remove a marker. It's good against early unisons like Demigra. But the main reason you want this is not really for that removal of a marker. That's probably why people discounted it, because you don't want that marker early. But if you get this guy out, you got a 19k swing on turn 2, because you play this, awaken, untap 1 and play this guy. Then you're drawing 1 for here, 1 for here. So you're filtering from the start. I think this was very important in my deck, given it had so many cards. And then you're swinging for 19k. It has revenge, and your opponent's leader card can't attack it, so it becomes pretty difficult to remove. And your opponent usually thinks it's a 19k beater, it's not that important to remove straight away. But then what you do is, next turn, you then can bring this guy out, the SR from set 11, SS3 Gotenks All Out Assault, for 2 energy by EX evolving on top of this guy. Now, a lot of people discounted this card, and I did as well. I did play it in my other builds, but I barely used it because Union Fusion for 3 and you only draw 1 and then 1 on this guy felt pretty bad. Like, it didn't feel as good as Reaper. But for 2 energy evolving and you're not dropping any pieces, then you get to KO a card ignoring barrier and neg 2 markers from a unison, which on turn 3 is generally on the field. So you're pretty much killing a unison with this guy. Then he's a double strike 30k. It's very, very explosive. It can come out and you're swinging. You've already hit them a bunch of times, like turn 2, 15, 19, leader, and then you're playing this guy. It's very strong, and people don't expect it at all. I was saying, I don't know if people watched the interview, I'll probably put that at the end of this video, but I was saying that I like to make decks that people aren't expecting. The first time I played Gotenks, it was like the first week that it came out, and no one really had played it and decided how to use it yet, so that was good. And then now that everybody is kind of playing it, or a lot of people have played it since then, I wanted to change up a lot and kind of take some people by surprise. So this into this was really good and very explosive that no one thought it would, no one expected it, I should say. So then we obviously have the Gotenks, the Grim Reaper of Justice. Now this guy is probably the most value card in the deck. It is so strong, but again on turn 2, depending on the situation, I'm a lot of the time playing this one and playing this guy turn 3, turn 4. It also depends which one I have in my hand, but Gotenks comes out for 2 energy, you draw 2, and then you draw 1 off him, so you're getting all your cards back to hand, netting 0. And then when this card is removed, you can get your pieces back from the drop, and he also gets a KO a battle card when you play him. Then he's a dual attack, so very strong, good removal if you want to remove a card and then attack battle cards if you need their swarming the board. Otherwise you're going dual attack 25k into lead. Very strong, so much value. Everybody talks about this card, and that's what people expect you to do with this deck. They just expect you to go bang, 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 like those 3 cards. And that's why I went this way, because it kind of took people off guard, shaking people, in my opinion, because it's happened to me where you tilt people and they don't know what's happening. It can throw them off their game and you can win. And I feel like that was a lot, that worked in my favor a lot this tournament, just confusing people with my plays. Then we obviously have 4 of Charismatic Villain Freezer. So I have 4 of the SPR because it's beautiful. This guy, he's live on turn 2, and you want to play him pretty much as soon as you can. KO one of their battle cards. If they're unawakened, you can then swing with this guy with the 10k and play him into the Fused Zamasu Deity's Wrath. So this is the start of the hand destruction. I'm going to go through all the hand destruction cards now. Frieza goes for Zamasu. You usually only have this guy out on turn 3, so you need 3 energy to play him, which is fine. You tap 1, get rid of Frieza, play this guy. So you're either playing Gotenks for 2 or this Gotenks for 2. You have 1 energy. You usually play this Frieza tapping out. Zamasu. And then you're attacking. You're starting to neg hand already. I like this card a lot. It obviously just is so much value for 1 energy. A 20k hit and then dropping a card from their hand, and it's extremely hard to remove except for negging, which isn't really a big thing at the moment. There aren't any decks that are negging your cards, so it's kind of just stays there until you use it for Successor or something. Then I run 3 of Cell's Earth Destroying Kamehameha, more of hand destruction. Honestly, I'll probably take this out if I play again, just because, as you saw, I'm playing on curve really heavily, so the amount of times I actually use this, I could count on one hand in 6 games. It is useful in some situations to just kind of neg your opponent's hand, especially if they have a low hand size and you want to pull out a piece that's important. It can really work, but having that energy up was a struggle, and I had to plan ahead for that and kind of stop these strong aggressive plays for it, so I probably would take it out. Next hand destruction piece is 3 of the Android 18 super combo and 1 Paragus. Honestly, I quickly built this deck the morning of the event and I couldn't find another Android 18, so I just put this guy in. The main reason is of not playing Paragus is that this deck barely ever goes below 6 life. I think 1 out of 6 games I actually went to 4 life, so I did use that super combo, the Paragus super combo, in that game, but generally I don't go below 6 life because this is so aggressive. You're kind of finishing games on turn 3-4 and it's not ideal having that. So having this, which negs your opponent a card, just really helps. It goes in with everything. There are a lot of games where I ended up winning with your opponent with no cards in hand with these hand destruction pieces. So I think I would run 4 of the 18 from now. I was talking to John in the interview about Nappa into the Kid Goku draft box rare, which comes in for 1 as an arrival, 1 green, which means you only have to run Nappa as a super combo to use him, and then you can activate battle once per turn to drop on a card from your opponent's combo area. So obviously on your opponent's turn. It's pretty good. I think that is a really cool play. I am still undecided on whether I'll try looking at using it because I do like this Android 18, but having another body like that is pretty fun. Next we have 2 Ribrians, so everybody knows what this does. Tap 2, they neg 2. There were times like on turn 3 where instead of going into Gotenks at all, and this is what I mean by not playing Gotenks that often, was I would hit 2 cards from hand with this, and then 1 card from hand with this, and then go into Toa, another card from hand. So that's 3 energy, and they've dropped 4 cards from hand. And then if I have Android 18, and I did have it in one of my games, I will combo this, and that's like getting rid of their whole hand pretty much in 1 turn for 3 energy. Toa is a great card. It gives your leader a boost, so it's like almost a 10k combo if you choose to combo with it instead of attacking. But she gives your leader a 5k boost when you play with Overwhelm and your opponent drops a card. The other thing is you really need to pay attention when you're using this card in this deck, because you do want your pieces in the drop for Grim Reaper if he dies, and also these ones. So what you need to do is, generally I will play this on turn 3 because I've just played Gotenks on turn 2. I can even play it on turn 2 if I have another card and drop, but I play this Gotenks first, go into this, and then when you play Grim Reaper or another Gotenks, there is still pieces in the drop to get back. Very strong card. People don't play Toa, I've been told a lot of times. I haven't really looked at other people's deck lists, to be honest, but I've been told that people don't play this card. I've always liked Toa because I've been a slug player previously. I used Toa in that, and I thought it would be really good tech in here. And just that extra body, 15k, they drop a card, is super strong. People aren't playing Overwhelm as much in coloured decks these days, so it's just so nice to put in. Now, our counters. So we have 4 Dormant Potential Unleashed. This card makes the deck, obviously. This card, I think this is probably the strongest counter in the game other than Baby Hachiak. Honestly, I think it's a bit unfair. I am happy to have it in my deck, but I hate playing against it. Just stopping the turn pretty much completely. Against things like Broly Swap, Dark Broly, the Swarm decks that kind of just play heaps of cards and attack heaps. It's so strong, and you're using it for free, and then you know, especially if you're using it early turns, you're killing some of their pieces on board. It is very powerful card. I run 2 of Shocking Death Ball. Now this is pretty much for Gohan matchup, and I did use both of those in my Gohan matchup. I luckily mulliganed into one and then drew one for my next turn. I was very happy. I think as soon as I saw that I had these 2 cards, I was like, yeah, I'm safe. Plus Dormant Potential, obviously shutting down their 1-drops, the double strikes and criticals. Very good. I still would keep this in. I feel like having Dormant Potential is amazing, but you need a hard negate in your deck, just because sometimes your opponent might go attack in and then bring out, you know, a mirror or something and try and double strike you to death, where you can Shocking Death Ball them. But again, you just need to be careful with your drop with Toa overall. Now I ran 1 of Frieza. I'll probably take this out. Just because there's only one real target that you use it with. I did use it a couple of times to just get my opponent down 1 health, putting it on the Zamasu, so they drop a card, and then if they take the crit, they lose another card, which worked out pretty nicely. But the main reason I put this in is on turn 3, when you play this guy, you have 1 energy open still, which I sometimes use for Zamasu or other things. But if I had this in hand, which didn't happen that often, I attack with a 30k double strike and then combo this guy, and your opponent goes from just happily taking a double strike hit when they're on, you know, 6 life, to either having to combo out of a 35k double strike crit or take the neg 2 from life. It was so fun. I only did it once on this card, but what my opponent did was he decided to combo out of that attack. And I'm happy with that. That's fine with me. I'm already playing hand destruction. They're going to neg heaps of cards from hand for that. So it worked really nicely, but it is just kind of a sad thing to have a 1 cost 5k combo. That's the only thing. I feel like if this was a 10k, it would be used a lot, but because it's a 5k, it's pretty sad. So I probably would take that out. So next up, I have 1 Dark Power Black Marseille. I did say I had 2 in the interview, but I thought I had 2 in here, and that was why I have 59 cards in this deck, because I couldn't find another one. So I wanted to run 2 of those guys, but I couldn't find another one, and I ended up getting this against Gotenks. I have a tendency to mulligan my whole hand if I don't find what I want, and I did that, and I got this in my second hand against Gotenks. It was so good. I feel like when you're playing against Gotenks, if you have this card out on turn 1, it just negs them so much, especially if you're going first. They can't play anything except Vegeta early. And he got a lot of Kais and things in his drop straight away and couldn't play them unless he wants the neg, which he didn't. And a Trunks. He did get a Vegeta out as well, but that was after turn 2, so I killed it with the Frieza. He kind of couldn't do anything. I'll put that video up because that was on stream, so you can see. It kind of felt bad, but it was so good to get that out. It probably saved me, to be honest. I run 1 Mecha Kabura, the Broken Seal. So these are my 1 of Silver Bullets. I didn't use this at all, mainly because I didn't see it. This card I use generally for Dark Broly. Because Shay plays Dark Broly, I test it with him a lot. And playing this out and getting your opponent, like calling Dark Broly 6-drop, just stops your opponent's turn pretty much. But I feel like in this deck, because you have Dormant, it's not needed as much. I would have liked to draw it, but I didn't draw it in the two Dark Broly games I played. So, you know, that is the downside of having 60 cards. Like, I was lucky enough to draw the Dark Power Black Marseille, but I didn't draw this Mecha Kabura. Such a great card, but I don't know if I'll keep running it because I feel like I didn't need it. Now my big bosses, so I'm just going to put these here. Fu, Shrouded in Mystery. This card was pretty much to play against things like Sin Shenron and Stall decks, which I didn't come across in my games yesterday. So I didn't use it. I feel like I want to take it out because of that, but at the same time, as soon as I take it out, I feel like I'll need it. So it is a really amazing card. Obviously, everybody knows this card. It's been around since set 3. But just in this slower meta at the moment, it's very good. So I think I probably will force myself to keep it in here. This, like I said, this version of Gotenks is very quick, very aggressive. So I'm not getting to turn 6. I didn't get to turn 6 at all in any of my games, but it could have been my matchups. You know, things like Gohan and Broly BR kill themselves really quickly, so I was able to finish them off. But we'll see. And finally, the SCR is Cell Zeno. This card is dumb. I've said it before. I feel like this card is too free. I don't like it in the game. I feel like it's unhealthy, but it's an SCR, so I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. You can get this out as early as turn 3, which I did play it a couple of times. I won against a Soul Striker player on turn 3 with this card. People think I'm crazy playing it turn 3 and going in, but I feel like the surprise attack, and they're always on 4 life turn 3 unless they're dropping a lot of their cards. So I'm going in with this, you know, using Grim Reaper and Zamasu or Frieza, plus a 1-drop Gokul or Gohan to go into Cell Zeno and just attacking with a Quad Strike. Usually do it when they've tapped out. A lot of the time by turn 3, if they haven't been protecting their life, then they don't have sparking, and it's kind of good game. Like, you have a big hand already from drawing from your fusion pieces, so you just dump on that quad and you win. I think it happened twice in this tournament where I played at turn 3. Obviously, I'm not always seeing that on turn 3, but it was so powerful still. Now I'll talk about my changes that I would make to this deck with Draft Box after this. But I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm not running this at 60 again, or 59. That was just an experiment for my personal kind of, I wanted to see what would happen. And it obviously worked for me, but I feel like it still wasn't as consistent as it could be. Alrighty, so now I just want to talk about the changes I would make to this deck, or at least test with this deck from the Draft Box. There are 3 main things I would do. So I would put this guy in. I haven't decided what I'd take out yet. Obviously, I already said I'd take out Cell and things like that. But this guy is a successor for 1 energy for a 6-drop. So you can use that to get rid of a Frieza and a 1-drop if you don't have Zamasu, or your 6-drop Gotenks, or a number of different combinations there. And this guy comes in, he's a double strike, and he's got Bond 3. When he attacks, you can neg an opponent's card from hand, or choose a rest mode card, battle card, and KO it from your opponent. Really good, just because I focus so much on aggro in this deck. I will be able to do even more damage on the turns, especially if I'm going in with double strike 30k and then sacking off this guy and a 1-drop for him, and then going in with another double strike 25. Just so aggressive. The thing with this guy is he can't be used for successor, so that means if I did put him in, I was going to take Cell Zeno out, because as much as I love Cell Zeno, he isn't my main finisher in the deck, so I was going to replace that with this guy. People will probably be surprised that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was my other choice of SCR, but this guy comes out on turn 5, which is usually when you play Cell Zeno anyway, for 5 energy, and it negs 2 cards in your opponent's hand, lets you draw 2 and untap 2. The cool thing with this is you play this guy for 5, untap 2, and then you Rubrian from your drop area, which means you're negging 4 cards from your opponent's hand, and then you have a triple strike 45k as well. Plus you've cleared some of their board. It's just so powerful in this hand distraction deck, because on turn 5 your opponent barely has any cards in hand most of the time, and that is game. And the final thing I would put in, which is also from the draft box, is Trunks, Wielder of the Legendary Blade. Now this guy is a dual attack, 3 cost. When you play him from your hand, you draw a card, but we don't do that. We're not paying 3 for this guy. What happens is you use your Goten, that you tap 1, place the Goten in the drop, and then play this guy from your energy, from your deck, sorry, for 1 energy. So on turn 1, if you're going second, you're getting a 2 15k swings plus your leader swing. And then your opponent has to deal with this guy on their turn 2. Otherwise, they're going to be hit with another dual attack. So it just gives them something to think about. And otherwise, you can play him on turn 2 after your unison. Again, dual attack. And it just means your opponent really wants to get rid of it because it's so much value. When he's KO'd by a skill or removed by a skill, you can drop a card from hand to add him back to your hand. Just if you want the pieces. If you need a Trunks and you have some Gotens in your hand, grab that back. Usually won't use that. But the dual attack is just so powerful, especially since you can get him out on turn 1. Pretty good. So those are the changes I would make. I'm not sure exactly what I'll change yet. I'll probably do another deck profile at some point if I do well with this one. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll put on an interview that I had with the commentators after the win now, so enjoy that.
Oh.
Sam
Hey,
Ryan
Bill.
just joined.
Is this the winner of today's event?
What's up,
Sam?
guys?
What's happening, man? How do you?
Yo.
First of all, congrats on winning today. Congrats.
Congrats. I'm
Pretty
impressed.
happy, man. I just
Why
wanted
did you-
winners promos, to be honest. So
Well, you got them, dude. You earned them as well. You get some good looking cards. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. So how do you feel, Sam? How do you feel right now?
I honestly, going into the final round, I thought that I was going to
Yeah.
lose. Like, I've played against Red Broly at locals heaps, and I'm like, I've won like 1 of 5 or something against it. Just because if they go first, it's just like
Yep.
they
I
make it
agree
so
with
hard I
you.
can't do anything.
Yeah.
But I think I was lucky to get the die roll. That's the main thing for me. And I got to get that promo out turn 2, which is I only run 2, so it's hard to do that sometimes.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, seeing as like how well the promo did today, we were talking about it myself. I personally think the promo is not very good. That's just my opinion, just because in my perspective, I feel like the strategy of the deck just spam Grim Reapers. But after seeing how you used it today, being able to enable the EX Evolve turn 3 most of the time, and just getting an additional like line of play on your second turn after Awakening to start filtering your deck drawing cards, would you consider bumping the promo up, or what are your like overall thoughts of the promo now after using it today?
Yeah,
so
I think
effectively?
I'll probably bring it up to 3. Because the thing for me is that
Wow.
5-drop SR, I reckon it sucks. Without the EX Evolve, it's bad for 3 energy. So
Yeah, I agree with you.
good. And I run one of the tech I run is the crit freezer from DB5.
I did see the one
Yeah.
of that you were showing at the end of that round, yeah.
Yeah, so I run one of those, and if I do, it doesn't happen. It happened in 1 game, I think. But if I have that in hand and turn 3, swing in with the 30k double, and then drop the crit freezer, it's just so fun. And people don't know what to do. They're like, do I combo my whole hand or do I take the double crit? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one thing I really appreciate about watching your games. You've been playing, we were talking about before, because you've been playing from last year, and it feels like I've versed you a couple of times, and Benny as well has versed you a couple of times. It feels like that you've really, like personally just seen you play, you've improved heaps since you've started playing as well. You've always been doing pretty good, but now you're like doing outstandingly at these events. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just saying the truth. You've earned the respect. That's like you're just playing really well lately.
Yeah.
You've won a lot of events. You've topped a lot of events as well, and you're just bringing innovative ideas to things like that people wouldn't really like read, double check or whatnot, right? Like especially.
Yeah, I think something that I always try. I never I have nothing against net decking or whatever, but I always try and do my own stuff because people don't expect it. Like bringing these like that promo, no one expects you to play that. They don't know what it does, and it's good to just get people on edge if they're thinking, "Oh, what does this do? What do I do?" It kind of knocks them off their game a bit, and I think that helps.
Actually, I had a question for you as well, Sam, because I knew you ran the Dark Power Master End because we played each other in the finals, remember?
Yeah.
I knew you had that. Do you still run 2 only?
Only 2, yeah.
Yeah, but man, that game against Chris, bro,
Yeah, I
that
mulled
Dark
again,
Power
like,
Marseille,
yeah.
oh,
I
you
didn't
did
get
that
it
with
in
me as
first
well.
hand, and then I mulled and got it, and I was so happy.
Some, we've
We
got
were thinking whether you're going to play the Dark Power Marseille on turn 1 against the Broly player as well. Because if you had that, that's huge for you as well.
Yeah, I didn't get to get it that time because I wanted to do that as well, but I didn't draw it.
Yeah, fair
Sadly.
enough.
Oh,
Because I
like
was
the way
going
it
to say,
worked out.
were you,
It worked
were you
out.
pretty excited knowing that the Broly player didn't hit? So Zach didn't hit a Broly 1-drop on turn 1.
Yeah, that I was like, sweet man,
Yeah.
like this is awesome. Otherwise, it could have been,
Yeah.
you know.
Man, it was pretty insane. Because right now, I asked him as well. Apparently, he was playing like a 3-2 split because he doesn't own the 4th copy for the Broly TP. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, may have been a reason why he whiffed as well. But still, he did really well though.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think looking at
it was good. Like it was just unlucky. Going second always hurts in these matches that go quickly.
best of
Like
one.
he's taking his life down really quickly too. So
Yeah.
I can swing so fast and so hard. It's kind of hard.
No, looking at Zach's deck, it looked like he was running a lot more tech cards, which is fair enough. You don't have all the pieces. Focusing back on your deck though, Sam, your super combo choice. I'm just curious about would you consider running, because obviously like the hand control element of Android 18 looks really strong. I was wondering, would you consider running Dr. Gero if you needed to get more cards like Zarbon and Rubrians into the drop, or even like the Nappa super combo instead? Because it obviously looks like the Paris super combo is really irrelevant if you're just sitting the game at like 6 or 5 life the entire time. So would you consider any of these other cards, or just 18's the way to go?
Well, this is the first time I've run the 18. I run Paragus last time when I was playing Benny and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, in those games, like I never or barely ever could use the Paragus because I'm always at 6 life when I want to be using it. And just being able to neg them, I figured like if I'm drawing so much, I might as well neg my opponent instead. I was thinking Dr. Gero to put Ruby on the drop, but I actually took Zarbon out of here.
Oh
Okay.
wow, you took Zarbon out of there.
Yeah, I
Because
don't-
obviously, right now you're paying that 1 energy to go into the Gotenks TP.
Yeah, because I'm
now,
playing the
instead of
Gotenks.
going.
I never have a time where there's just 1 energy ready until a bit later, and in that, like at that point, I don't really need the Zarbon blocker.
Okay.
But
That makes sense, yeah.
that's just my choice. People love that card. You know, I respect that card, but I'm just not a massive fan of it, to be honest. I know
Right.
no one will agree
Yeah.
with it. I just don't
No,
like the thing, you know.
I get what you're saying, because like you can use your other energy to do other plays, and it's like frees up deck slots as well. Plus, it's kind of hard to get to, so it's fine too.
No,
Yeah, I
I
saw
think
mine as well, so I couldn't play them anyway.
Yeah. So real quick, while we're still talking about super combos, I had this idea like 2 seconds ago because I was flicking through cards you can arrival off blue green. Right? There's actually no card in the game that has just 1 green arrival. That's blue green. However, hear me out, Sam. This might be something you can consider. So Nappa super combo is red or green, right? And this new Goku, I'm gonna put on the camera. You know the arrival Goku here.
Oh yeah.
You can actually play this here.
Green.
Would you consider this? I reckon this is an idea. It might
That's a
be
Yeah.
horrible.
card for this deck as well, because I'm playing hand distraction. That does the combo, drop a card from the combo area.
Exactly.
very
So, you
good
know, and then
tech.
you get Nappa super combo. Sam, see, we can make this deck better together. We just need to put it.
I have a question for Sam.
Honestly, I'm going to consider that now. I hadn't thought of it, but I like that. I was going to put if we were allowed to play draft box, I was going to put the 3-drop Trunks in. Yeah, that boy there, the slug.
You're gonna put the slug in, really.
Oh, so you would put this in, right? Because like I know like Sam is also a big fan of playing the Lord Slug deck as well. What do you think about this card in Gotenks?
Yeah, I was going to play that. I had that at 3
Really?
in my list.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
I thought about
again,
it
I
as
play
well,
this
but-
differently to other people, right? I have Cell Zeno in here. If I was putting that in, I would have taken Cell Zeno out
Really?
and probably put Gogeta in. The Gogeta
What?
SCR.
You're crazy,
Because
Sam.
turn
You're
five-
crazy. That's
If
wild.
you get to turn
Okay,
5 and you drop Gogeta, you neg 2, and then you untap 2 Ribria and drop another 2. So you're negging 4.
Yeah.
You can swing into a triple strike. But that
Wow.
slug is so fun.
I know, yeah. I was looking at this card for a while, and I thought of you as well, because like you know how you did your Lord Slug deck profile. I was like,
Yeah,
hey, you
I
know,
love Slug. I love
maybe
it.
Sam might play this in his deck. You know, like if you could.
I would have.
Funny.
And actually, the 3-drop Trunks, that's dual attack. Because you can,
Yeah.
like, in say I didn't have that TP promo, it's from the
Uh-huh.
draft box. You tap 1 for the Goten from your hand to the drop, and then play.
Yes, I know what card you're talking
deck.
about. Yes.
Yeah,
You don't get the
me too.
draw, but you still have a dual attack turn 2. It's like smacking them hard. Like that's 3 15k attacks turn 2. It's really nice. 4, including your leader.
That's pretty smart. That's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
it looks
saying.
like you
Your
really thought about
version
this,
is
yeah.
so aggro hand control as well.
Yeah, I like my aggro decks.
Yeah,
Yep.
the cool thing about it too is like you've obviously put a lot of effort into this deck. The fact that you've already theory crafted all these ideas and just like opportunities and like you can use to make the deck better. It's really cool to see that it's paying off as well. Like I like it. It's great. You've really earned your win today. Like honestly.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, boys.
Yeah. I look forward to playing you when real life events is back again.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. We probably would have
I-
played each other in Queensland, but that got cancelled unfortunately. So
Yeah, would have. Damn it. I'm not a big fan of the webcam things. But you know, we got to do what we got to do. COVID.
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
that's-
I mean, we're still appreciative of Bandai actually giving us some events, though, right?
Of
Like
course.
it's still great, you know. We still
Yeah.
get participation prizes and winner promos and stuff, you know. It's really nice still.
yeah.
It
But
is-
also for people, I want to go back to what you said before. The Trunks, the card that Sam was talking about before is this Trunks Wielder of the Legendary Blade. It's a 3
Yep.
cost, has dual attack, 15 attack. When this card is played from your hand, you get the draw card. So if you're using it from the
You
deck
don't-
order, you don't
Yeah.
get that. But this other one is that choose one card in your hand and discard it. When this card is carried by an opponent's skill, return this card from your draw to your hand. That's a good option too. But I think the main thing is definitely how you're saying the dual attack is a great option to have.
It's just because I love like playing aggressively with this. So having another like 15k dual attack on turn 2 is pretty good.
Even turn 1 if you really wanted to, like
you
if
really
you did that
want
way.
to, If you're going second, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, I've seen a lot of your
It kind of forces them to put resources in to get rid of it. Otherwise, they're going to get 2 more attacks from a 15k turn 2 if you do play a turn 1.
Cool. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen you play the Gotenks deck a lot now. I think your most famous thing for me is like you will always drop Celcino before turn 5.
Yes, yes,
Out
yes.
of nowhere, man. Sam so aggro. Like people are not expecting it. Okay, Sam will just I'm going in now.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
know
see an
what?
opportunity. I go in, I win. That's it.
Let me tell you about that I was on stream last time.
Yeah,
I was
we were talking about that. I
Yep.
found that hilarious because I thought you fallen through that game. That was hilarious.
No,
based
he
on-
was. Sam was so
That
good.
was
He
so
just saw
funny.
The reason I did it because he just sparking negated, right? He just
Yeah.
sparking negated my attack. I'm like, what's the chances he has another sparking negate? And then he ended
Well,
up
yeah.
having. I just thought it was a decent gamble at the time.
But nah, still,
Alright.
like I love it when you do it though. Like it's so aggressive. People are not expecting it, you know. And
Yeah.
when you see a window of opportunity, you would go for it. Which is
Against someone
like-
today, I did it on turn 3, I think, against Soul Striker and killed
Yeah.
him.
It's funny.
I mean, if I was versing you, I'll definitely be like, man, Sam could drop this on me anytime. So I must keep in the gate.
So fun. All right, guys, I have to go because I'm going to take my wife and my dog to the beach.
Yep.
While they're
Oh
still-
yeah, nice.
but
Yeah,
thanks
have
for
a good
having
one,
me
man.
on.
Yeah,
Congrats
no
on
worries.
the
No,
win
thanks for talking to us,
again.
man.
Cheers,
Look forward
guys.
to your deck. Look forward to your deck profile.
Look,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
look
put it
out.
this week, maybe Monday or Tuesday.
Look
All
out!
right.
Check out
All right.
Cyberman on YouTube. Sam deserved it. Big win today. Congratulations once again, and looking forward to see you play in the future.
Cheers,
Yeah,
man. Thanks for the
definitely.
shout out.
See you in the finals. Bye.
Yeah.
Hey. There we go. We got
Definitely
Sam
strong.
Russell, guys. See, he said the idea was good, Ben. You were correct. He said he didn't even know of the technology, and now he knows. That's what he's playing next time. We just know the tech. This boy here. I might actually try it. It seems pretty good.
Yeah, I do like the rival Goku as well, and obviously the Lord Slug. Oh, I quite like this card. I pulled 2, so I might try to make it work.
No, it's good. Like again, the point I keep on making is that he's a player in the community who's like, essentially like how life works, right? If you put more effort into another person in anything, you'll get better results than that person, right? It doesn't matter the circumstances. Whoever tries harder, whoever puts more effort into anything you do, will get rewarded more. And Sam's like one of these players that he's putting a lot more effort than a lot more people in this game, and it's paying off. So it's really nice to see players like him do well at these events and even winning them. So it's like honestly, just from a story, like from a narrative perspective, you have a player who's trying really hard and he's reaping the rewards for it. So it's just great. It's just great seeing him do well at these events, especially if you're an Aussie player and you actually like know a bit more about him. So it's good.
I agree. He's a good Aussie player, you know. Like
Yeah,
definitely,
he
like
is.
once you're like, you know, all that hard effort that you've put into the game starts paying dividends, you're like, man,
It was worth
okay,
it.
my investment's worth it, you know. Like, okay,